Black philosophy and the prehistory of African civilization. Research and revised by Kiwana Eniger. My brothers and my sisters, a reason why we cannot think in black modes or in the direction of black concepts is because, my brothers and my sisters, we have lived a whole lifetime under the influence of a dominating race. And because of this, we have lost the cultivation of the ability to distinguish the real self from the unreal self. And another reason why we cannot think in black modes or in the direction of black concepts is because the spirit of realism of another race of man are upon us. And when the spirit of realism of a race of mankind dominates the world, the spirit of realism of other peoples and their societies are submerged within the subconscious mind. And the ways of the dominating race are acted out by most people within the sphere of influence. And what this means in essence is that we as black people can live a whole lifetime unaware of the knowledge and spiritual technology that is locked within the deep corners of our minds, down in our subconscious. And one of the most important single item overlooked by scholars in examination of the black race is that the fall of black consciousness was seen thousands of years before it occurred. For 29 of the 30 Egyptian dynasties, the Egyptians prepared for the fall of black consciousness. The rise of Western culture and imperialism, and what to do when it occurred, was taught in the Egyptian mystery school to initiates. The Egyptian book of the Great Awakening, often called the Egyptian Book of the Dead by others, in a somewhat disguised fourth dimensional text called Zenzar, tells of the fall of black consciousness through a step-by-step description. The book also informs blacks of events that will happen centered around the growth of the soul and in future lifetimes. It also tells of a world that will become spiritually dead as to universal knowledge and harmony. The book also gives a code of survival for blacks in such a world, and also displays a list of signs to look for, indicating the transition of time into the ports of the afterlife, but only after the fall of black consciousness. Without the fall of black consciousness, there can be no fall of African civilizations, nor the invasion of Africa by colonialism. The 42 books of God taught were journals of general trends of events that will occur on the earth. These books also trace the psychological and the cognitive development of the various civilization of man. It traces their philosophy and religion, and in other forms of philosophy and religion, mankind was seen as being existing separately from God or gods. But only the black race prided themselves as gods sent down to earth. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus spoke of this fact of our ancestors in the annals of Greek history, and mankind's relationship to cosmic and planetary forces was viewed from a much higher plane of awareness. We use a system of understanding that emphasizes spiritual well-being and stimulation about the higher mind. Black consciousness was at its zenith during the golden age of Egypt. In the golden age of Egypt, the trend of the day was black consciousness. The Egyptians were the established voice of black consciousness. The pyramids were both cut and set into place by this amazing black civilization. Again, we use a system of understanding that emphasizes spiritual well-being and stimulation about the higher mind. And we were also viewed as gods by these other races because of our advanced abilities in respect as to planetary motives and universal dynamic principles. We would spread a concept of spiritualism and agriculture worldwide. In our philosophy, we, the ancient Africans, Egyptians, also believed that we were the avowed children of the universal Father. The intangible, the untouchable forces of consciousness, responsible for all energies and all states of awareness and consciousness in the universe. In our philosophy, we, the ancient African Egyptians, also believed that knowledge predates ignorance, but a period of ignorance is necessary so that one may appreciate the value of knowledge. Black consciousness placed emphasis on remembering knowledge. For we, the ancient African Egyptian, believed that knowledge could not be learned, only remembered. And although the whole world was affected by its existence, Black consciousness was not a way of life that was forced on other peoples and cultures of the world, but to the contrary, it was a way of life being sought after by every race and culture that was matured enough to accept the nature of its existence. And we, the ancient African Egyptians, also believe that the soul of man is a time traveler that would enter into various lifetimes. Upon entering these lifetimes, the soul will use the physical body as a recording device to record all that transpired in that lifetime as life experience. And we, the ancient African Egyptians, were also a socialistic, collective race of people who depended on each other's knowledge. Individuals wasn't seen as strangers, but as a link of knowledge to all past, present, and future lifetime. Well, just think for a moment the possible consequence of knowledge that can be obtained in this way by seeing each other as a link of knowledge to all past, present, and future lifetime. Well, it must have been a devastating concept for the ancient Greek historian Herodotus to write in his work, Book 2, The Histories. The Greek historian states that the Egyptian priests had supernatural powers, the power to control the minds of others, the technology of hypnosis, the knowledge to predict the future, the technology of prophecy, and the power of knowledge to control the natural forces of nature, such as heat and cold, air and rain, natural electricity and gravity, and to project one's consciousness into these kinds of natural forces, one must gain the total wisdom of these forces to become one with these forces. So there will be no ill effects on the environment nor on the user. And all this summed up to be a devastating concept that have staggered the minds of others in ages gone by and in this time period. My brothers and my sisters, another reason why we cannot think in black modes or in the direction of black concepts is because, my brothers and my sisters, we have lived a whole lifetime under the influence of a dominating race. And because of this, we have lost the cultivation of the ability to distinguish the right self from the wrong self. I end. I invite you to listen again to the mysteries of our ancestors. Thank you.